And really the goal when we developed the ROG team was about committing to really being innovative in terms of feature set and functionality, performance-oriented, so whether we're talking about clock speeds, whether we're talking about audio or networking, or overall board design, and then also have the highest level of quality. When we talk about overall aesthetics for ROG, it's extremely important. It's actually one of the cornerstones in terms of the overall development and design story process that we have. We really wanted to have something that first and foremost looked fresh, modern, but still had minimal design aspects to it, and could also really work in just about any type of setup. When you take a look at a board like the MAXIMUS 9 Hero, it's pretty much monochromatic. So that means that when it's tied in with like lighting and other things, it's going to be complementary and it's not necessarily going to contend for attention. So a heatsink, first and foremost, has to actually be able to efficiently dissipate heat. So we use really high-grade quality VRM components to make sure those are operating efficiently, whether it's at stock or overclock configurations. Being able to work from a single block of whatever material it is allows us to create kind of monolithic design patterns. The Hero offers 2 RGB headers that allow you to connect everything from LED strips to chassis and even link them to compatible items like DRAM kits. So if you want to be able to go ahead and synchronize your RGB lighting from the board to any one of those components and even be able to control how they sequence back and forth, that's for the first time available in the industry, being able to be done now on the board. So if you're taking a look at chassis from companies like InWin, from Fantex, from Deepcool, there's a lot of companies out there that are making tons of different products that we're validating that offer this level of synchronization and control. For the ROG series as a whole, I think one of the most exciting aspects of what we've done for overclocking is incorporate our audio tuning technologies. Nearing almost a decade, we've had really the industry-leading design of having an automated algorithm to be able to dynamically overclock your CPU. So whether you want to manually pursue overclocking deep inside the UEFI with all the parameters of tuning, or whether you want to do it in the operating system and just click a button and define parameters like targeted temperature overclocking, voltage specific overclocking, or any number of other parameters, it can be done super easily. This is actually a true combination of software. So you're executing it within the OS environment, and then the actual management is occurring on the firmware level. So it's actually occurring in the traditional manual overclocking sense. So if you were even to uninstall the software after it runs, the entire overclock is stored on the board, just if you manually did it. Very important that a lot of people, when they overclock, if you don't dial in the overclock, you might be providing too much voltage. You might not be accounting for thermal temperature ranges and a lot of other factors. This way you get literally tens of thousands of man hours that we've spent at figuring out all the parameters of operation, but distilled into a really used application where you define the parameters, click the button and let it run. I think for this generation, it's the absolute best sound design that we've ever implemented. We have an in-house co-developed Realtek high-quality codec, so that's the new S1220. And then we've also used a new ESS Zebra DAC, the 9023. So if you're doing things like streaming and you want to be able to elevate the quality of the microphone experience as well, that's also been improved upon. So it doesn't matter whether you buy a $100 headset, $200 headset, $300 headset, they might have different operating parameters at the voltages required to be able to give you a really great driving experience. But you don't have to worry about any of that. When you plug it in, literally the board will automatically detect what is the optimal level of power to provide to your headphone and enable it. It's the most extensive and complete level of fan controls that have ever been offered on any motherboard. Of course, giving you support for 3-pin fans or 4-pin or DC or PWM, controlling the output signal, being able to have a full automatic profiling and calibration, meaning that we can figure out how fast your fans can spin down to and spin up to. If you hit silent on your preset, actually all your fans turn off. Many users don't realize that your fans only respond to the CPU temperature in traditional motherboard designs. For our latest generation and for ROG specifically, you can actually map them to a number of different temperature sensors. So you could have it respond to the GPU, you could have it respond to the DRAM, you could have it respond to onboard sensors that are on the motherboard, and you could even plug in your own thermosistors and put those on any device that you want, whether it's a hard drive or ambiently hanging in your chassis. Well, I think we've seen an overall trend for users to want to be able to have high-performance closed-loop water cooling as well as more advanced custom water cooling solutions. And ROG has really embraced this by not only giving you a high amperage fan header, a water pump fan header, an all-in-one pump fan header, but also for the Hero motherboard, we've introduced a dedicated flow rate, or if you also want to monitor water temperature, there's an inlet and an outlet temperature header as well. So we think that the enthusiast community that focuses on wanting to know exactly how their cooling system is operating is going to get the most extensive and robust experience from ROG boards. So we've got an Intel NIC, which is proven in terms of its reliability and its customization. When tag teamed with our Game First packet priority software, you can go ahead and customize to your heart's content exactly how everything is leaving your system. More importantly though, we've also not only just looked at the performance aspects, but also the reliability. We redesigned the overall housing to be more robustful in terms of protection against static discharge. So on all ROG series, we have very advanced surge and ESD protection built on all the I/O. And now for this generation, we've even taken it further for the networking jack as well. In terms of all the core specifications, of course, these motherboards are purpose-built for performance, so you've got the highest level of frequencies that we validated for in terms of DDR4 overclocking capabilities. They're utilizing our custom T topology design, which just means that if you're going to go 2 DIMMs or 4 DIMMs, you're going to be able to go to the fastest speeds possible, whether we're talking DDR 3600, 3800, even DDR 4000, so some truly insane speeds. In terms of CPU frequencies, if your CPU can handle it and your cooling can handle it, 5 gigahertz clock speeds are not going to be an issue on this board. And when you talk about all the key spec that we're looking for when we're building a system, M.2, NVMe, USB 3.1, support for Thunderbolt, even dual M.2 or PCIe rating, all those options, and even Intel's latest generation Intel Optane, they're already on this board.